Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we are going to discuss about hire purchase. So let me just write it here. It's called HP, hire purchase. If you want to buy a vehicle today and you don't have cash, there are so many avenues that exist for you out there. And today I'm going to discuss about hire purchase and the quality of a good hire purchase deal. And this, I'm going to make reference to the truth or to the fact that people always go to Mombasa to meet the Mhindi. You know, the Mhindi are mostly the dealers in Mombasa who are very popular with hire purchase deals. I'm going to explain to you here why the Wahidis of Mombasa are very popular with hire purchase, because I find that their hire purchase deals are worthwhile and they are relatively cheaper compared to the hire purchase deals we have in Nairobi. The difference between the hire purchase plans in Mombasa and the hire purchase plans in Nairobi is this one. Okay, so hire purchase in Nairobi, and here we have Mombasa. I hope my handwriting is legible. You can read. The difference between Nairobi is we have financiers. Here you will have maybe a bank that facilitates, or you'll have a microfinance institution like maybe Mogo, Mwananchi Credit, and the rest. What it simply means is that if you want a hire purchase deal in Nairobi, you will walk into a car yard, okay? Into a car yard, and you will identify the car that you want. Then the owner of that car yard will call the bank. All right? Here is the car yard and here is you. Okay? And here you will have the bank. So the bank will come and pay the car yard, all right? And then you will be left to pay the bank. And I will explain to you why this is a very expensive way of financing, because you are bringing in a third party, which is a bank that has some huge interest or has some huge how can I explain this? Like biashara yao ni interest. You see, the car yard, it's in the business of selling vehicles and making a profit. But the business of the bank is to make interest. Wakikukopesha pesa and then you pay for 10 years, the interest you pay on that amount, that is their business. And that's why these people will make your hire purchase plans in Nairobi very expensive. Let me give you now the example of what happens in Mombasa. And I have references, I have drivers that have gone to Mombasa and they have been able to buy a car through hire purchase without intermediaries, without the bank. So if you go to Mombasa, you will find that you will meet, let me use this pen, you will meet the car yard, okay? The car yard, and here it is only you, okay? The deal of hire purchase will only be between you and the car owner, the person who is selling and the person who is buying. So what the car yard will do, they'll just factor in maybe the time value for money. Because you are not buying cash, you will pay this yard in maybe 1 or 2 years. Okay, so then what they will do, they will maybe add a 10% or a 20%, on top of what you could have paid if you were to pay cash, just to cover for what we call time value for money. Because if you were to pay the car yard today 1 million shillings, it will not be the same value of 1 million today like it would be next year. Maybe next year, what you can do with 1 million today, you will need 1.1 million next year, So that's why they will just factor a small amount in there. And during the payment period, you will only deal with the car yard. You will not be told, because you have bought your car, you will not be told that you will be paying to the bank, or you'll be paying to a SACCO or to a microfinance. No, all the installments will be made through the car yard. You will not pay through the bank, because when this bank comes in here, they are looking at, okay, we have financed you, let's say 900k. So for the bank, they are like, we need to be making at least 16% interest on this money here. But this Mhindi has no interest in making profits from financing you. What he wants is just for his bills to be covered, and he maintains his level of interest, time notwithstanding. So that is the biggest difference between Mombasa and Nairobi when it comes to hire purchase. But still, there could be some people in Nairobi who are applying this Mombasa hire purchase kind of approach, but there are not many. So my advice to anyone here, if you are going to execute or to be interested in hire purchase, I would advise you to investigate if your deal will be between you as the buyer and the seller. That is the best hire purchase plan. But of course, you must do some good due diligence to ensure that you are dealing with an authentic seller or a very reputable company, because as you can see here, there is no third party, there is no someone, to oversee this relationship, because it is only you and the seller. And I will explain to you something else that is a bit delicate when you are navigating a hire purchase. Just a quick one. So we have said that there are two options. There is one and two. Here you have the buyer, you have the seller, and then you have financiers. Okay? So this is mostly what I'm calling the Nairobi model. The Mombasa, you have the buyer and you only have the seller. There is no financier. So it's only these two routes. Money will travel those two routes, and here the money will travel that route. So the bank will finance, the financier will pay the seller, and then the seller will pay, and then the buyer will pay the financier. So that's how the money will flow. Okay, but there will be not too much transaction between the buyer and the seller. It will only be exchanging the car. But the only big problem here when it comes to this model of the buyer paying to the seller direct is that if you are going to buy a car from Mombasa, the Mhindi will tell you the cash price, let's say it is 1.5 million for Toyota Axio, for instance. He will tell you that if you pay in 1 year, you will pay 1.7 M. If you pay in 2 years, you will pay 1.9 M. So he gives you a general figure. So you don't know what is interest, what is principal. And that is the biggest problem with this one. And then here, he will tell you that your installment, of course, you can divide here, per month, and just know how much you need to pay. But let's say, for example, just for reference figure, you are paying 50K per month. Okay? Ideally, you will never know how much money out of the 50K you are paying is going towards the interest and which is going towards the principal. Because ideally, when you are probably unable to pay this money and the Muhindi comes for his car to repossess, you need now to talk about how much had I paid towards the principal. Like, principal ni kama gari ilikuwa ina cost 1.5, okay, ni kumaanisha hapa unalipa interest ya 200k, but when you make a repayment of 50,000, how much goes towards 1.5 and how much goes towards the 200k if you are to repay in one year? So on the side of bank I would say buyer seller with a financier, it is very clear. if they will tell you the vehicle is 1.5, the interest, let's say it is 16% per year, okay? And for your installment, if for example you agree that you will be paying 40K per month, they will clearly tell you that out of the 40, 30K goes towards interest because they like that. And then they will tell you that 10K goes towards repaying the 1.5 million that they financed you. So after 1 or 2 years, if you are unable to pay the loan and they come for their vehicle, they will do the math and say, okay, out of the 9 months you have been paying, for the 1.5 million, you have already been able to pay maybe 100K. So 1.4M. The rest of the money has been going to interest. And it is very, very easy for you to solve that dispute if you are using this method. But this one, the guy will just come for your car and go with it because you have no idea how much has been going to interest, how much has been going to the principal. So my advice is this one: if you are going for hire purchase without an intermediary financier, make sure that you do some proper research on the reputation of the company that you will be dealing with. I hope that will help you at some point. Cheers and goodbye.